It was like a very dark night in the middle of the woods. It was more like some kind of a dream or like I was watching a movie or something. He couldn't look at me in the eyes at all, and he just kept saying, I know what happened was stupid, man, but you know, we got to stick together now.
Pick up your packs and run with me.
Pick up your packs and run with me.
We are the sons of UDT.
We are the sons of UDT.
Hey, Marine Corps.
Hey, Marine Corps.
Bullet sponge Marine Corps.
Bullet sponge Marine Corps.
Pick up your steps and run with me.
Pick up your steps and run with me. We are the sons of UDT.
Hey, Air Force.
Hey, Air Force.
Go flying Air Force.
Go flying Air Force.
Get on the plane and follow me.
Get on your plane and follow me. We are the sons of UDT.
Virginia Beach was almost like a tale of two cities, where there was always that contrast between the GI aspect of it, which was really bleak and dreary, and then you had the nightclubs and a little bit of the beach lifestyle. They really work hard to emulate the West Coast at times, not successfully, but they really try.
We moved to Norfolk, Virginia Beach, January of '76, because the military transferred me here. It was a really nice, small town. You know, it was quiet, easygoing, no major traffic. But in the winter, it's a pretty sleepy place. Not a whole lot going on. But in the summer, it's wall-to-wall people.
This is a tourist city. A lot of young people come here on their spring break and their summer vacations.
This is a community that prides itself on its hospitality to visitors. In fact, its economy depends on it.
The Port of Hampton Roads is home to the Atlantic Fleet. We have a lot of Army military personnel stationed here as well.
We are home to the world's largest Navy base, and the SEAL community, along with that community in San Diego, I think are the two concentrations of SEALs in the country.
Dustin Turner is from Bloomington, Indiana. He is from a military family. His father and his stepfather are both Vietnam veterans. He decided very early that he wanted to be a Navy SEAL.
I'd been scuba diving for a few years, since I was 15 or 16. I really enjoyed it.
He came to me as a junior and said, "Mom, I've been talking to somebody and I really want to join the Navy now." And I'm like, "Join the Navy? You're not even through high school."
Be a diver for the Navy was just the ideal situation. That is, until I'd come across information about the SEAL teams.
I was shocked that he was going to be a Navy SEAL. He was physical, he was an excellent swimmer, he was all these things where he could do the job, but there wasn't an aggressive bone in his body.
With all my family members being in the military, my father, my stepfather, my uncles, and about everybody I can think of was always in the military, so it was the natural thing to do.
When the Navy SEAL program came to his mind, it was just, he had his mind on it, and that's what he focused on, and he just went for it. But he was the youngest Navy SEAL trainee at the time.
I said, "Dusty, you're entering an area here where you're going to be expected to kill people. You're going to be expected to take human life. Are you going to be able to do that?" And it was a big concern of mine because he was so passive and so nonviolent. Not to say he wasn't competitive, but he didn't do the roughhouse kinds of things that a lot of kids do. He was more quiet and introspective.
You know, he just seemed like the all-American guy, real clean cut. To me, he seemed very well spoken.
As soon as the year was over, the senior year, he left the next week. That is where he met the person that changed his life. All of our lives. That's where he met Billy Brown.
Brown came from a very different background. He had a pretty violent history. He got married very young as a teenager, was charged with assaulting his 14-year-old wife in front of a group of police officers. He went into the Coast Guard and was kicked out for assaulting a superior officer, but eventually found his way into the Navy SEAL program as well.
I think he just slipped through the cracks. You know, once in a while, things get overlooked. They're very good about weeding out people before they ever get to training, but I think that once in a while, someone slips through.
Billy had a rough life growing up, and he really did. His family was very poor. You know, he was married young, children young.
He's kind of a bigger guy. He was built pretty tough. He was very quiet. It seemed like there was something different just by the way that he carried himself.
Billy had more of a bad boy image than Dustin ever did. He had the good boy image.
He got injured. I think he had some lung problems. Then he had some stress fractures in his shin, so he got rolled out of training. And then I got rolled for a femoral stress fracture a few weeks after that. We started hanging out, partying, drinking. That's how Dusty and I became friends.
That really gave me a first look of him outside of training, because we had time to kind of go out a little bit and frequent some of the clubs and that kind of thing.
Billy was definitely the leader. I mean, I can't say that Dustin was a follower, because he wasn't a follower. I mean, he had his own head on his shoulders.
I wouldn't say that Dusty was a submissive person. I would just say he was normal, and that Brown was just kind of like over the top, obnoxious, and aggressive.
He could be dangerous under certain circumstances. He would drink every night, even when we had to work the next morning, 2 like 40-ounce malt liquor bottles. Before he'd go to bed, he'd do his martial arts kung fu routine very religiously.
You could ask 20 people who knew him at the time, and probably 19 or 20 of them would tell you a bad story of Brown and drinking with him.
He was always trying to get into some type of, you know, confrontation when we went out, you know, whether it be that guy's looking at me or, you know, just always something.
He was a disaster when he drank.
He's just one of those guys who, when he gets drunk, he's a different person.
I think a lot of people thought that he might have been the kind of person that would have turned to one of the branches of the military to get himself into manhood and kind of straightened out a little bit.
Graduating from SEAL training, it was an amazing feeling, an amazing accomplishment and achievement. I was still 19 years old. I graduated through what is, you know, perhaps the toughest training in the world. When I graduated from BUD/S, I was assigned to SEAL Team 4 in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Virginia. I was getting excited about this first deployment with my platoon, and I was excited about being an asset and showing that I could be an asset.
In May of '95, we went to AP Hill, started training there. I was smoking pot and taking steroids, all that kind of stuff.
They were best friends. I mean, every single time they came into town, they always came up there together.
It was right around the middle of summer, beginning of summer actually, June. We used to take turns driving back to Virginia Beach. And so I drove this weekend.
My goals was either one of two things, meet a girl and have sex, or drink lots of alcohol.
We decided to go to the bayou that evening. Of course, Billy went straight to the bar and grabbed him. He usually grabs a couple of drinks.
6 or 7 times I had double shots of Jim Beam, and I chased that down with a Beam and Coke each time, and then order like 2 beers at a time.
I noticed a small group of girls who come in. One of them eventually come up to me and introduced herself, and that happened to be Jennifer Evans. This was probably, I don't know, maybe around midnight or so. She had a bubbly attitude, and we started talking, and I pretty much hung out with her throughout the whole night.
Jennifer Evans was a pre-med student from suburban Atlanta. She went to Emory University. She was in Virginia Beach on summer vacation. Her college roommate's family had rented a house at the beach.
She seemed almost like the ideal tourist that a family vacation location like Virginia Beach tries to attract.
She was attractive and she was nice, and we really hit it off.
Brown was so drunk that he was having trouble standing up.
I wasn't hanging with him at all during the evening. And I looked over a couple times and he's kind of slouched up against the wall, just getting more drunk. Probably the fact that I wasn't hanging out with him angered him. I was kind of staying away from him. He was so drunk, I've been with him the whole day. Andrea Burdett, she was getting adamant about going home. She was getting tired of the club. She said she had a headache. She finally told Jennifer, look, that's it, we're leaving. We were just having a really good time, having good conversation, and she didn't want to leave. Then they finally made an agreement. They said, well, just stay here with Dusty until the club closes, 2 o'clock. We'll pick you up right here.
There was a problem, though. Turner realized that Brown was way too drunk to find his way back to the barracks.
And we immediately went to looking for someone to take Billy Brown home.
He came to me and asked me to have a girl named Kristen Bishop drive me home, and I didn't want to because I previously dated her.
He mumbled and grumbled and said something to me, and I could tell he was mad at me. Finally, he's like, all right, whatever. It was probably 10 till 2, something like that, closer to when her friends are supposed to arrive. We went ahead and exited out of the lobby out towards the parking lot.
I waited, I don't even know how long I waited, and I said, man, screw this. I was going to see if he was still in the parking lot.
We were kind of scanning the area every once in a while, looking to make sure we didn't miss her friends. And instead of seeing her friends, I saw Billy Brown stumbling out to the parking lot.
Apparently the plan to get him home had not worked out.
Yeah, I found my way right to the car, amazingly enough, yeah.
This is a special report.
On June 19th, the 21-year-old pre-med student went missing while vacationing with family friends at Virginia Beach.
Jennifer, if you're out there anywhere listening where you can hear us, we love you, and we want you back home.
It was the story from the day she was reported missing by her friends. The effort to find Jennifer was extraordinary. I don't think I've ever